Howdy, and welcome to this bonus single scoop episode. I went to my first concert recently, which was the Baby V.O.X 2026 Pechanga Summit Concert. Yes, in the year 2026, I got to see Baby V.O.X perform in California, and it was awesome. As this was an event I experienced firsthand, I'm going into more detail with this than with the HOT concert series. But as a disclaimer, I won't be going into the songs themselves, as I already did episodes on the history and music of Baby V.O.X back in season 2. If you haven't listened to those episodes yet and you don't know much about the group, I'll be leaving links in the description so you can check those out and then be able to keep up with this episode. Now, let me tell you all about this concert. The Baby V.O.X 2026 Pechanga Summit Concert took place on April 25th at the Pechanga Summit Event Center, which is part of the Pechanga Resort Casino in Temecula, California. It was their first concert in California since 2002. It was put on by Hue Entertainment, which produces concerts for the Korean community in the greater LA area. Tickets range from $90 to $250 depending on how close you wanted to be to the stage. As it was targeted towards the local Korean community, advertising for it was pretty low-key. Members Eunhae and Kim Z did an interview with Radio Korea for it, but I found out about it by chance. My friend Jade was in LA and saw a poster for it when she went to Koreatown. She knew of Baby V.O.X and that they were important to me, so she took a picture of the poster and sent it to me. That was on March 28th. I follow Eunhae on YouTube and I'm in the first gen community, but I hadn't heard anything about it until then. And by that point, there were only about 20 seats left. For reference, that theater has 3,100 seats, so Jade and I got tickets just in time. For those of you who are out of the loop, Baby V.O.X reunited as a full group for the 2024 KBS Gayo Daejukje Global Festival. Then, on September 26th to 27th, 2025, they held their first solo concert since they came back at the Grand Peace Hall of Kyunghee University. This was meaningful as it was held at the same place as their first concert back in 2002. The girls continued to pick up steam as later in the year, Kim Z dropped her solo debut song, Easy Like Queen, Miyeon released her new song, Our Movie, and the members did a lot of interviews and appearances together. Additionally, they re-recorded their hit songs and released them digitally. Coincidence is my personal favorite of those because it's the version I've wanted for years. When Jade and I got to Pechanga, we were surprised that there weren't any signs for the concert in the casino or resort areas. It wasn't until we got to the summit area that there were signs and banner screens. We later found out that they had signs for concert parking at the garage that was closer to the summit, which is where we were supposed to park, but didn't because we accidentally went to the other one. But still, we did expect a bit more fanfare, considering the other advertisements we saw around the property. This lack of signage did create a bit of confusion. There were 2 check-in tables where you could pick up tickets. One was for if you got your tickets through Ticketmaster or had a player's card for the casino, and the other was for everyone else. We got there pretty early and went to the wrong table and felt pretty dumb about it until we saw everyone else do the same thing. They were on opposite sides of the hall, so the one that was closest to the theater looked like where you could pick up tickets, whereas the other one when we first saw it, we thought it might be a merch table, possibly have some photo cards or a poster, but we did not think that it could be a place to pick up our tickets because why would you have 2 separate tables on opposite sides of the hall for tickets? That possibility didn't even cross our minds. Again, more banners declaring where to go would have helped. Once we got through the doors to the lobby of the theater, there were lines for security checks and a metal detector. After that, there was a table where we were able to pick up old school light sticks that were about 2 feet long and an inch in diameter. They flashed colors of yellow, blue, pink, and green with 3 settings: fast, slow, on, and off. Each stick had a handle and a round tip that was either blue, green, or pink. I picked pink because it was the group's color, but it wasn't branded and appeared to be generic reusable ones that the organizers could offer at different events. I came to this conclusion after I noticed some dim towards the end of the show or grew hot when turned on for extended periods. I later went on the organizer's website to look at pictures for past events, and this did seem to be the case. But they were very useful when I was trying to write down notes in the dark because I decided to write down my notes with pen and paper. Unfortunately, there was no merchandise available for purchase, so unless you brought your own official Baby V.O.X light stick, which some people did, the generic ones were what you were stuck with. Also for reference, I sat halfway in the back near the middle, so I wasn't close to the stage, but I was close enough that I didn't need the monitors to see the members. I'm telling you this because at times there were things happening, usually in the audience, that I couldn't figure out, such as who brought the giant inflatable Baby V.O.X light stick. Before the concert started, there was an MC on stage to interact with the audience. The concert was sold out, but half an hour before it started, I estimate that a little less than half of the audience was in the theater. So the MC filled up that time by starting off with promoting the sponsors of the concert, asked where the audience was from, some came as far as Korea, and did Baby V.O.X trivia. However, people didn't do well with the quiz, which I was kind of surprised by because for songs, he kept lumping Ya 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 and Get Up, which are full group songs, with Paparazzi, which is a Kanmyeon solo song, and that broke my brain a bit. The MC was so patient yet looked increasingly fed up with the audience that were continually shouting wrong answers. This led to my new favorite K-pop related punishment game. The MC called members of the audience to come to the stage and do noraebang, aka karaoke, of hit Baby V.O.X songs. The first two guys did so badly, but the girls who followed did a bit better. At one point, the MC himself sang, and I was convinced this was somehow a pilot for a new prank show because he was so good. I still don't know if he was just a staff member with a great voice, a plant for a TV show, or a former singer I didn't recognize. At the end of the game, they handed out prizes to the participants that I believe were products from the concert sponsors, that were mostly local businesses. The funny thing about this was that Jade kept telling me that this segment wasn't normal for concerts. My other friend who was seated at a different section from us was also baffled by this, and we were texting each other about this, absolutely befuddled while it was going on. After that wrapped up, an advertisement for a local Korean broadcast station that's been around since 1989 was shown on the screen that listed all the shows they have and the times they air. They also advertised a local Korean barbecue place in addition to a few products. Finally, a video showing concert rules explained by the Baby V.O.X members was displayed with subtitles in Korean and English. The first rule was to quiet your phone. The second rule was not to use flash when taking pictures during the performance. The third rule was to clap loudly. The fourth rule was that they expected fans to hug each other during a certain part of a song that would come up in the concert. The fifth and final rule was to cheer loudly for them. The concert was supposed to start at 7 p.m., but more people sauntered in until the girls took to the stage at about 7:50 p.m. The first song was Get Up from their third album, which was a fitting start as that was the first song with the final lineup and is a total bop. The girls wore sparkly loose jeans, sleeveless tops, and black-heeled boots that were up to mid-calf. The tops were three colors. Myeon wore pink, Easy and Eunjin wore black, and Eunhae and Heejin wore white. They had small differences that fit each member's style well, but overall they had a cohesive theme. Except for the colors of their tops, their outfits were either the same as or similar to what they wore at their 2025 Back to V.O.X New Breath concert. And these would be the outfits they would stick to for most of the concert. The large screen behind them displayed a different scene for each song. For example, during Get Up, they had black and white TVs that displayed the group's new logo, which is essentially their initials BV stylized in the color pink. There were also large screens that were on both sides of the hall, which is where the song lyrics were displayed. My first impression of the members was that they had so much charisma and looked comfortable with their songs. And this attitude was something they carried through the whole show. The second track they performed was Why from their fourth album, which is one of my favorite songs by them. I was struck by how elegant and graceful they moved because for the original promotions, they typically performed Why wearing ankle-length flowy skirts and their fingers were accessorized. Yet with the attire they wore for this concert, they were able to achieve a similar effect, and that fascinated me. After they finished their second song, the girls paused to greet the audience. Heejin demanded loud cheers in a comedic way, to which fans responded accordingly. They waved their light sticks like they were traffic controllers, as some had picked up 2 light sticks. It was during this time that I noticed there was a sign language interpreter at the front left side of the theater. There were 2 who would switch out and give each other breaks. I'm not sure if they used American Sign Language or Korean Sign Language for it, as they were moving too fast for me to tell. I was very impressed with how they kept up with both the songs in Korean as well as the members' speeches. Yet they were able to keep up and even had the beat down for the songs. For reference, the target audience for this event was the Korean American community, so there wasn't much English used. I would estimate that there were no more than a dozen people who weren't Korean, and I'm including the sign language interpreters, my friends, and I in that estimate. Most look to be in their mid-40s, which makes sense, as they were probably the original fans who met Baby V.O.X in the 90s. However, most attendees came with family members, including their parents and children. The next song was Go from the special album. Heejin, Eunjin, and Miyeon started it off, but then Easy appeared on stage out of nowhere and Eunhae soon followed, but I saw her walk on stage. Just a note is that this stage didn't move or have a place where members could jump out of the floor, so anytime they or their dancers came out, they would walk on stage like they were at a school auditorium. But it's Baby V.O.X, so obviously even their walk was cool. The fourth song was Doll from their fifth album. If you listen to the 2025 versions of their songs, you'll notice that their voices have slightly changed over the years. Eunhae's opening lines in this song are a perfect example of that, as her voice is a bit deeper than it was when she was a teenager. My favorite part of it was the ending when the girl stiffened and then slowly lowered down as the lights faded to black. I wasn't expecting them to reference the song's theme like that, so I was delighted when they did that. After that, they had a quick ment and then started the next song. The fifth song was Ecstasy from their seventh album, which, yes, still had Tupac's vocals. It was a bit toned down from how it was in the past, but the stage lighting and effects really came through to enhance the performance. The lights were bright red and the back screen matched it. To add dramatic flair to the performance, there was also a siren and smoke came up during it. And you can't have Ecstasy without its partner in crime, Play, also from their seventh album, which was the sixth track for this concert. For this performance, they went with a remix and maintained the red theming of the lighting and back screen, but with a lighter shade. Back when I would record Korean Music Countdown on VHS tapes, the music video for Play was one I watched often. My main takeaway from this performance is that they were much more comfortable performing this than they used to be. I think part of it is time and not needing to try so hard to be sexy anymore as they're older and are confident in who they are. But I also think their outfits were a huge part of that. For example, Kim Z wore a denim miniskirt in the MV for the choreography parts, and she was moving carefully as she turned around. But as she wore pants for this performance, she had the freedom to make bigger movements. This ended up being my favorite performance of the song because it seemed like the members weren't tense while dancing. Another note is that this is when I noticed Miyeon, who was typically the member on the right side of the stage, wandered off to the far side to focus on the fans near there. The members were a bit aloof at the beginning when interacting with fans, but considering the audiences they've had in the past and how long it's been since they last visited US fans, I get it. I think fans were also very aware of that, as they put a lot of effort into cheering for them and reassuring the members that they were happy to see them. The next segment was the first VCR, which was an interview with the members. 4 of the members were on a white couch in the back, while Kim Z was seated in front to answer questions. They switched through the members to give everyone a chance to talk. There were a lot of laughs, such as when Heejin's dancing was brought up. If you weren't aware, her dancing during the 2024 KBS Gayo Daejukje Global Festival became a bit of a hot topic, and a meme due to her clunky dancing. While the member in front talked, the members, led by Eunhae, took selfies and joked around quietly. After that, the leader, Kim Z, kicked off the solo stages section of the concert with her song Easy Like Queen. This single came out back in November 2025 and is the exact hype anthem you'd expect from her. And it has its own music video. For this performance, she wore the long red vinyl trench coat that she had in the music video over her stage outfit. She was very charismatic. The 8th track was Eunjin's Oopsie. It was the title track from her first solo album that came out in 2005. Like with Kim Z, there was special styling for it. Eunjin had a large gathered skirt and high boots with the same top as she had before. For this concert, there were 4 male dancers who wore black outfits. It was with this song in particular that I noticed how they added personality to every song they performed, and they had the same energy as the male dancers for Ladies Code's Pretty Pretty. The next member to perform solo was Eunhae. At the previous concert, she performed Up, and as this concert setlist was similar to that concert, I was expecting to hear that song during this one as well. But instead, she performed a ballad. As it turns out, she wrote it herself, and this concert was the first time she performed it. When talking about why she did so, she said, quote, "Because of the LA concert, a stage I prepared in a rush. The lyrics are really comforting, you know? When you've had a hard day and you come home feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, and drained. Sometimes it feels like there's no one there for you, right? So to bring some comfort, that someone you love is by your side, that someone is watching over you, and even if it feels like no one is there, for me, since I have faith now, there is God. And I hope this gives you strength to keep going tomorrow, with the hope that it comforts you." Unquote. The song itself is very gentle and feels like a warm hug. For a while, I was convinced it was a song I knew previously because it was surprisingly easy to sing along to. Unfortunately, she didn't list the song's name during the concert and didn't do it in her vlog either. So, until it's officially released and the real name is known, I'm going to be referring to it as Hanbokan Haru Dweseo. Have a happy day until then. I'll be calling it that because the phrase was typed out in her vlog at the end of this segment, and I think it sums up the song pretty well. The only change she had to her outfit was adding a white hollow-out top that she wore for the rest of the concert, as it added sleeves to her outfit. Miyeon sang the 10th song, which was You Raise Me Up. This is far from the first song in English she sung, but my brain definitely short-circuited when I realized that's what it was. I had expected her to sing Our Movie or Paparazzi, so this wasn't on my radar at all. Speaking of paparazzi, Heejin performed it as her solo song. Miyeon posed as Heejin took to the stage to set her up. This isn't Heejin's first time to perform the song, as she also sang it during the 2025 concert, so I knew there was a possibility she'd do it again. Towards the end, the members snuck on stage acting like they were paparazzi. Miyeon lip-synced Eric's part, and she did a handshake/shoulder bump with Heejin. Their interactions during this were adorable, and I love that it was included in the setlist like this. After it was over, the girls asked if the audience was enjoying the concert, then jumped into the next song. The next song had all of the members, and that was the ballad Be My Love, Ne Sarangigiru, from their 5th album. They had mic stands and did minimal movements during the song. As fans were waving their light sticks from side to side in different directions, Eunjin started signaling the audience how to do it and got most of the audience to move in the same direction. She was gentle but effective, so props to her. The 13th song was Game Over from their 5th album. The 14th song was Wish, Bottom from their 6th album. I'm not fond of this one, mainly because of the laugh at the beginning, but I will say this is the song where I realized I suddenly didn't have a bias in the group. Since 2004, my favorite member has been Heejin, but I found all the members so charming during this concert that I found myself cheering for them equally. I think it's because they weren't phoning it in and were fun to watch. The 15th track was What Do I Do, Now to K, from their 6th album, which had a club vibe with the red and white lights in addition to the other lights that were basically searchlights. Afterwards, the members left the stage as the second VCR played on the screens. They were back to talking on the couches and being interviewed. This time, clips from their past were shown, including performances and them signing autographs. And when a clip of their 2024 performance appeared, Heejin started laughing. The 16th track was Missing You from their 3rd album. At the beginning, only Eunjin, Eunhae, and Kim Hee-ji appeared on stage, with Eunjin directing traffic again. Soon after, Heejin and Miyeon joined them on stage. This was when they became more personable with the audience, such as with Kim Hee-ji doing heart hands. It's a pretty emotional ballad, but nobody was expecting it when Heejin started crying. Eunhae, who was the closest to the left side of the stage, went to get tissues for her from their staff members, helped to wipe Heejin's eyes so she wouldn't wreck her makeup, and checked on her a few times during and after the song. The 17th track was Maybe It's Love, Salangin Ga Boyo from their 6th album, which I never paid attention to before, but now I love this song because it's a bop. It sounds like it belongs in a DDR game. Remember the rules at the beginning of the concert? And how Rule 4 stated that there was one song they expected fans to hug each other during? This was that song. I hugged Jade, who was next to me, and most people hugged their family members while the group hugged each other. Luckily, it wasn't drawn out and they moved on quickly. It was during this song that I saw a few people in the front had actual Baby V.O.X light sticks, which were available for a limited time in Korea during the 2025 concert. I thought that was pretty cool. It was after this that the members started talking and took a picture with the audience. Then they each had their say and gave thanks to the fans for coming. Heejin was back to crying and explaining herself. She was overwhelmed and said that she hadn't been expecting so many people to come after so many years. And then Eunhae started crying when she heard that. Towards the end, Kim Hee-ji said, "I'm leader" in English very cutely. The 18th track was Killer from their 3rd album. During this song, the members waved to fans, especially Kim Hee-ji and Eunhae. They hyped up the fans and seemed to be preparing to wind down. Once it was over, the girls said their goodbyes and left the stage. As they hadn't performed Ya 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 and Coincidence, I'm pretty sure everyone knew it wasn't the end. After about 10 seconds of nothing, the word Encore came up on the screens, so fans started chanting it until the members came back on stage. Sure enough, they came back and sang Change from their second album. They encouraged fans to stand up and sing along with them. And also, I'm not sure where it came from, but there was a large inflatable version of their lightstick at the front of the theater. I still don't know if it was staff or a fan that made and brought it to the concert. It was really well done, so props to whoever made it. I'm kind of disappointed it disappeared before I could get up to see it up close. The 20th track was Ya 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 from their second album. Eunjin focused on being cute with fans, Miyeon again went to the right side of the stage to focus on those fans, and Une did a heart shake for fans. Some people were getting up to leave during this, but their kids made them stop so they could dance and sing along, which was pretty cute. The final song of the night was Coincidence from their special album. Before they got started, they kept telling fans it was really the final song of the night and repeatedly said Jinja because they wanted fans to know they were serious this time. Confetti rained down while they sang, but as my seat was towards the back half of the theater, none of it fell near me, which was great because I was taking pictures and notes during this. Une stayed the longest and waved to fans on her way out, and that's how the concert ended. Before I wrap up, I want to discuss my thoughts on this concert. First, I feel incredibly lucky to have been able to go. I wasn't expecting them to come back to the US as their reunion activities had been solely for fans in Korea. But I'm hoping that with the new songs and increased activities, this will mean we'll get more from them. Maybe not a full Jackies type return, but I'm still happy with what we've got now. There were a few songs I was surprised weren't in the concert. I had looked at the 2025 concert setlist to get an idea of what to expect. While I knew nothing from their first album would be performed, as they tend to bury that time period, I was still kind of disappointed that Haircut wasn't included. But I was expecting Betrayal, Bishin, to be included because it's a bop, and I would have preferred it over Wish, Barem. The other song I was expecting was Come to Me because it's a low-key popular song of theirs. I enjoyed myself and am glad this was my first concert experience. But I hate crowds, so I doubt this will be a regular thing for me. Baby V.O.X is one of the few groups I will make an effort for, so they were certainly an exception. We always put notes and links in our scripts, but for this episode, I have a lot of pictures, links to videos other people filmed, and more details relating to this event in the notes section of the script. So if you want to dive into this more, I recommend you check it out. But that's it for today. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, then make sure to rate, subscribe, follow, and tell your friends about us. If you want to interact with us or just see more of our content, then you can follow the links in the description to our website and social media platforms. More single scoops are coming your way soon. Thanks everyone. Annyeong!